Hello everyone, welcome back to another zombie defense video. Today we are diving into some powerful late game build tips that will give you the upper hand when waves begin to get tough. If you are one of many who want to dominate your way into the endgame, you will not want to miss this. Let's start with turrets. For late game builds, I recommend having a full setup of stronger turrets, preferably above 1k DPS. A classic late game turret you can get your hands on is the laser killer, which you can get from missions, events, leveling, or rarely obtained from the ethereal chest. Star Destroyers are an event turret you can get during Christmas events. They have incredible DPS, so definitely use these if you have any. Particle cannons are one of the newer turrets and the strongest in the game by far. They are incredibly rare, but if you have one, add it to your build. Plasma turrets are also really good picks for late game. They are slightly less difficult to obtain than the laser killer, which is a bonus. Cyber bunny turrets as well as cyber rabbit turrets are a decent quality turret for late game that can be acquired during Easter events. If you were around during the Alien Invasion Zombie Defense Live event from last year, you may have these turrets, Cosmic Blasters and Interstellar Guardians. They are both very powerful and can work in a late game build if you have them. Ethereal turrets are the easiest late game turrets to obtain thanks to their 100% drop rate from ethereal chests. While their stats are slightly lower than plasma turrets, they're still a solid option, especially if you're lacking other high-tier turret types. It's definitely worth farming these, along with void turrets, which also offer reliable performance in the late game. Finally, ice cannons are the final turret I will recommend for late game bases, which is obtained from the Zombie Defense Christmas event. On the other hand, we have ice turrets, hydrogen turrets, and hydrogen towers. Each of these turrets are great for slowing zombies down and they are easy to obtain. I'd recommend adding at least 40 or 50 of these turrets to your build. Magnet towers are rare but are surprisingly effective. They pull zombies towards them, keeping them stuck to it until the tower breaks or the zombie dies. If you can keep a magnet tower to survive long enough until a boss arrives, it's possible that the magnet tower can pull the boss zombie in, making it one of the only few tools in the game to slow down a boss zombie. Another tool that can do this is the shocker. It's not a turret but can come in useful during late game. If you don't know what they are obtained from electric chests and combined with a zombie detector, creates electrical pulses that makes both zombies and bosses fall over for a short period. For late game defense, the strategy is to use shield generators due to having the highest defense capability in the game. As for blocks, you want to use anything obsidian tier and above for late game builds, basically the items you see here, preferably the walls for stronger defense. So now we'll be creating a simple late game build design that you can add to, followed by some additional tips you can use for late game builds. We will start by adding 3 blocks above the center of the flag. Break the first 2 blocks to leave the top one in a floating position, then add 4 blocks in each direction, creating an X-like shape. Once you've done that, add a square shape of blocks around the cross to create a shape a bit like a window. Make sure the holes are 4 by 4 in size, else the shield generators will not fall properly. Once you've done that, add 2 more blocks upwards from the center, and put some walls next to it like this. Next up, along the edges, add some more walls and fill the corners with blocks. Now underneath the build, remove all the blocks that we placed so only these parts remain. Next, add 8 blocks above the middle of the cross shape. Then using walls, create this pattern. Once done, extend the outer walls and corners up to the same height. Now we have this floating cube base with 4 chambers. This will be the base of our shield tower. To make sure this object floats, adding some trapdoors to the top will do the trick. Now let's add some shield generators. On each corner of the flag, add a shield generator and build upwards, making sure they fit into the chambers without touching any of the walls. Reset your character to get to the top of the build to continue stacking the shields. You now have a mini shield tower. You can extend on this, making the shield tower larger for increased survivability. With a larger shield tower, you will need to continue adding the walls to keep the shields falling straight down, but to save items, you can use floating rings instead. I personally use a computer to play zombie defense. Pressing the F key uses the height tool, which creates a fake red baseplate wherever my cursor is. I can use this to easily build a floating ring at this location. Without the rings, the shield towers will fall down badly, causing shields to get stuck, breaking the shield tower. Next up, we will add turrets. The turrets will also float so they are out the way of danger. First, create 3 walls outwards from each side of the shield tower. From there, add 9 more walls on the edges. There will be a small gap on the corners, but we can fill that in later with some blocks. You can either keep or remove the inside walls. They were mainly there for measurements. I personally am going to remove them, and I will be using alien metal crates for the corners to save blocks, but you can use normal blocks there instead if you don't have alien metal crates. Now we have this floating square. We will use it to attach our turrets to. I will be using some of the turrets from earlier. One thing you want to make sure about is how some turrets have different physics. Some can float without assists like plasma turrets, some can float with assists such as laser killers, and some can't float at all like the ethereal turrets. Here is a short clip of me displaying the turrets floating or falling depending on where I place the floating item, like the trapdoor. I've added ethereal turrets to the build, and here is how it runs against wave 160. The build currently has around 100 turrets on it, so there is still room for more DPS. It's also only just over 500 items total in its current state. I now will add some slow turrets to the build to help stop zombies from reaching the shield tower. I will be using hydrogen turrets and ice turrets around the perimeter. To get the best out of hydrogen towers, we need to add them where the zombies will be coming from. In the late stages of zombie defense, the zombies tend to always walk in from the middle towards the flag, so we can add hydrogen towers above that particular area. I will be once again using trapdoors to keep the hydrogen towers floating, as their physics work similar to the laser killer turret. And as you can see, the hydrogen towers are covering a fair area where the zombies are coming in from. To apply shockers to the build, we can extend the shield's tower base downwards like this. From there we can add shockers and zombie detectors, which will cause zombies to fall over when they reach the shields. Here are the shockers working in action. Another method with shockers is one of my personal strategies. I call these airstrips. It involves placing 2 strips of shockers and zombie detectors that follow the main zombie path, similar to how I place the hydrogen turrets. If you have spare shockers available, add this airstrip strategy for some additional crowd control. If you still have more walls in your inventory, I recommend using them to create a protective barrier against ballistas. This here is an example of a ballista barrier on one of my other builds. It doesn't permanently stop ballistas but does help protect the turrets temporarily, which can be useful if you want to take a small break from destroying zombie buildings. My final tip is to use turret range to your advantage, especially when working with shield tower builds. Since the shield tower blocks line of sight, placing a turret directly in front of it cuts its effective range in half, as it won't be able to target zombies behind the shield tower. Instead, position your turrets slightly farther out. This way, they can cover a wider area while still keeping the flag safe. And that's all for this video. I will happily answer any questions below if you need help with anything. If you know any cool strategies that work in late game, feel free to tell me about them. I hope my video has helped those of you stuck in late game. As always, be sure to drop a like, subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't already for more content like this in the future. Thanks for watching.